on today. And Heather, if you can go around in a minute after I have Pete Beckman talk and start asking these folks to unmute. I need Mike Hall. I need Connor Jones. I need Taylor Rumbo. I need Kyle Van Loo. I need Ashlyn Hughes. And let's start with that group right there. So if you can unmute those folks right there, we'll get to them in just a second. Hey, Pete Beckman, what's going on in Florida? And Pete Beckman, here we go.
Well, good morning, everybody. Glad to be with you, Scott, man. What an exciting week. First week, launch here with Equis Virtual, with Equis Financial guys. I'm so excited to see so many faces come on here. I can tell you our group is having a record week on the base shop on Submit, and it is 100% due to the association that we've had with the Equis Virtual team here as we prepare the launch. Just so many of our teammates winning at a high level. I'll tell you this, and I mean this, and I want you to hear me. And when you're going virtual, there's going to be some times when, you're going to struggle. There's going to be some times when, you've got to change up what you're doing a little bit. And I've been talking to some hybrid field agents, and here's what I'm going to tell you. You can't mix the two. What we're learning is that some folks who are struggling on virtual are mixing in same-day appointments on field and then trying to do a virtual appointment in their car. And the scripts are different. The approach is different. They're very similar and they're the same. But I think for us, I want you to think about isolating your virtual business as you transition. What do I mean isolate your virtual business? If you're in the field, pick your field days, run your field days, make them field days. If you're running virtual, make it a virtual day. Don't try to mix the two. So what would I do? If you're succeeding in the field, you're transitioning, let's say you're in the field 3 days a week. Well, maybe you're going to need to work 5 days this week and pick up 2 100% virtual days. But don't mix them. Don't go, well, I'm going to go run this appointment over here while I'm running, and I'm going to try to do this. Or nobody will know. I'm going to try to just put some appointments on the calendar for tomorrow, but nobody will know. Like they're going to be, no, we'll know because we'll see the results, right? We will know. And you'll know. The only person you'll fool is yourself. So I'll tell you this. When you get in virtual and you're making the transition, keep them boxed in. Run your virtual day. Run your in-home day, the in-home day. Even if you got to layer on one day, just start with that, and then just like we did, just start layering it on. Just start transitioning the business, but be smart financially about where you're at. Be smart. The number one thing we want you to do here is stay in business. And number two, we want you to be highly profitable, right? We have no value on this call today with you or any morning if we can't show you and be the leaders you need us to show you how to be profitable at a high level. I just want to finish with this and thank, Scott Rumbo, Connor Jones, Nick Burns, Robert Baljack, JB Burns. I want to thank, Ashlyn Hughes going out there lighting it up. I want to thank, Kyle Van Loo and Taylor Rumbo. These guys paving the way for virtual because they've given us proof of concept. This isn't ego. This isn't, if you've got some managers out there, follow what they say. But if you're hearing people say, no, why are you going to go over there with those quacks and do virtual? Hey, I'm going to tell you something and I'll call it out. The people saying that are moving down very quickly on the leaderboard. Like when I say quickly, I mean very quickly. And so what I would tell you to do is plug in with what you want, go all in. Which diet's going to work, guys? It's the diet you're going to stick to. Which plan's going to work? The one you commit to. Guys, thank you for an incredible week. I'm so excited to hear from these guys. We're doing a virtual boot camp with our team today, but I'll be on today preparing and listening to these guys. So excited to hear from them and their struggles, but also listen to their nuggets. Don't listen to every exact word. Don't try to cling on to every word. Click on to what they're conveying. Click on and tune into what they're conveying. So Scott, awesome week with you guys. Thank you for leading the front. And guys, we're very excited to see the numbers grow and what you guys are doing around here on virtual.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate you, buddy. Have a good boot camp today, man. Okay, so hey, I want to go over to watch this right here. I want to go over to Indy and talk to Mike Hall. What's going on, man?
Morning, Scott. How are you?
What do you think about this, Mike, man? We've been doing this for a while. You know, we've on camera a lot. You were right there with us, man, as we were trying to figure this thing out. That's pretty exciting what we got going today, isn't it?
You know what, man? I'll tell you, Scott. I remember us having these initial conversations. I remember Connor having that idea, and I remember this 21-year-old kid with a six-figure amount sitting in the bank, locking himself in this room, trying to figure this thing out. I got to be honest with you, Scott. Back when this thing first started, I was under the impression that only certain people were going to be able to do virtual and do it successfully. I thought that you had to be an extrovert. I thought that you had to have extra sales skills, that you had to be extra personable. What we're finding out is that when you put the pressure on the system and not yourself, that it doesn't take any experience. It doesn't take talent. As a matter of fact, if you are experienced in the field face-to-face, if anything, that can hurt you because you already know too much. The fact of the matter is that it's a new way of life. The mission always stays the same. Sometimes the tactics change. And I got to tell you, I was saying this in a video I shared the other day. I remember the very first conversation I had with Rob Jones when I was looking to come to Equis. And I was asking him the type of production that the top people were doing here. And he was saying we were doing, 8 to 10,000 a week. Coming from the world that I came from in final expense, if you wrote 5,000 a week, you were a stud. When I got here and I saw that people like the Brandons were doing that kind of production, and then it became the norm, right? That that there were a lot of people doing $8,000 to $10,000 a week. The incredible thing about this, it's not easier, it's simpler, and it's more efficient. The incredible thing about this is I believe that the average person that puts in below average effort, but they do the bare minimum of 24 appointments a week, making the minimum their maximum. I believe the average person is going to do a minimum of 5,000 a week. But I believe if you apply yourself and you're not a superstar and you just commit to the process, the activity, and becoming better at what you do, I honestly believe there's not a person on this Zoom that can't be doing 10 grand a week. And it's blowing my mind how many people are doing 15, 17. I mean, holy crap, Ashlyn Hughes, right? $17,000 this week. It looks like, 20 years old, 100% virtual. It's absolutely incredible. You all are blowing my mind. This was literally the best idea we could have ever come up with. There's nobody in the industry that's got anything even close to this. I promise you in another 6 months, you're not even going to recognize this company because of what's going to happen right here. You don't believe me? Look at the proof of what's happening with that man right there, Pete Beckman, and his business and what's happened over the last 30 days. Scott, I'm fired up to be a part of it, man. I'm honored to be able to work with you guys. I've learned so much already just from listening to Noel and a lot of the other professionals on here. Fired up to be a part of it, brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. My call, man. Love them. Okay, hey, here's what we're going to do. Real quick, I'm going to hit a couple housekeeping things, and then we're going to bring the panel on. Heather, if you'll make sure, I think Taylor's on. If we can get those folks unmuted, we'll get ready to go to them. Okay, so this is your opportunity to talk to these folks that are just rocking it and killing it with virtual. So if you have questions for them, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat right now. This is your opportunity. This would be like saying, if I was a field agent, I got the opportunity right now to ask Brandon Hall any question I want. This is your opportunity. Listen, I'll tell you this in advance if you guys don't know. Ashlyn Hughes has written $30,000 100% virtual in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
20 years old.
Oh, I need Noel Hughes also unmuted, please. So we're going to talk to them. But before I do that, here's where we find out if you're listening. Listen, guys. I don't want to come across as we're trying to be mean and that kind of stuff, but we know what works. And what works is we have to play and act every day like a Division I team. This is a Division I virtual team. I promise you that. Guys, my calendar is completely full all day long, every 30 minutes with people calling and looking for virtual. They've heard what we're doing. And I've talked to people, they go, I heard you guys in the virtual company, man. I want to go virtual. I'm tired of getting in the car. I've got, all this stuff. I've got people that are professionals. Mike, I've been talking to more people lately that are six-figure corporate people that are looking for something virtual. They, to better fit their lifestyle and what they want to be able to do. It's a big opportunity, but here's what we do. We only got here because of the way we played to this point, right? We put a lot of points on the board. And so here's what I want to find out if you're listening or not. If you haven't already, I want you to look at your name underneath your video. You should have your video on. I'm going to tell you exactly what these guys I'm about to talk to do. And that is, they always have their video on. Why? Because they're more engaged. They're more engaged when they have a video on. I promise you, you're more engaged. They're not doing anything but sitting there with their notepad ready to take notes when someone says something. These are the habits of the people that are winning at a very high level. So look at your name, either in the participant list or underneath your video. It should read first name, last name, dash, regional manager, last name, dash, your state abbreviation. Go ahead and change your name. If you don't know how to do that again, hover over your picture. A blue box will pop up in the right-hand corner with 3 dots. Click on it and click rename. Because here's what's going to happen. You want to get this right now. Because come Monday, here's how we became a Division I team. We start removing people if they don't have their name formatted. Because they're not ready to play. And I don't want to take away from everyone else. Again, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm trying to say, if you guys want to play at a high level of virtual, this is how we do it. This is how we got here. And you got to be engaged. So again, real quick, if your name is not formatted like most of the people on here right now, and thank you all for last name, dash, your regional manager's last name, dash, your state abbreviation. There's a reason for this. So go ahead and make that change. Again, hover over your picture with your cursor. Box in the top right-hand corner, there's 3 dots. Click on it. Scroll down to rename. Okay, I want to make sure this is done because come Monday, we're about to clear off a whole bunch of people. And it's not to be mean. It's to know that, hey, you're just not ready for this yet. You're not ready. And you're not ready because you're just not participating. You're not engaged. So you're not going to learn anyway. You're just going to be frustrated.
Recording in progress.
Let me talk to my panel here. Hey, Heather, let's do this real quick. I wonder if we don't have to figure this out right now. I was going to see if we could pin all the people that I want on the panel on the front page here. Yeah, if I could get them all on the front page, that'd be perfect. The people that I named off on the list. So here's what, let's look at the questions here, guys. Again, this is your opportunity to ask these folks questions. Let's see. Okay, I'm feeling really clumsy. I got Noel. Can we put others on there? Boom, there we go. Come on now. Can we put more? Here we go, Pete Beckman, buddy. We're getting fancy now, man. All right, can we get more, I hope? Okay, here's one. While the panel is coming on, and I'll introduce him here in just a second, we have Miss Noel Hughes. No stranger to virtual now, right? Noel was a big elite producer, came over to virtual, kicking and screaming, and she's writing over 10,000 a week. Hey, Bob Ridge, I saw you sneak your head in there. Hey, buddy. We got Taylor Rumbo, one of the pioneers of virtual. Mr. Virtual himself, Connor Jones. Miss Ashlyn Hughes, the newest person probably to virtual in the group right now. That is absolutely killing it, Connor. 30,000 in the last 2 weeks. 100% virtual. We got Mr. Pete Beckman. Can we fit any more on there? Is 5 the limit? Okay, hey, let's ask this question to the panel that's on here right now. Okay, I'm feeling really clumsy doing the rapport building on the initial call. Pete Beckman, talk about this. Pete, talk a little bit about your script and your thought process on your script, because Pete has a really incredible show rate in his group. And I can tell you this, guys, we've talked about building rapport in the first call forever, right? And that is because the people that were on early on in the days, they're good at it. They're good at it. It's not easy for everyone. It is not easy to build rapport if you're just not naturally that way. So Pete Beckman's approach is it's just very, hang on, Pete, you're muted. Hey, it's very matter of fact and very business-like. So Pete, can you kind of talk about that your approach in the initial phone call?
Guys, I think my approach is just like you're booking an appointment for the home. I mean, that's what I think. And the more I've learned, it's not very different. Your job is not to sell them an insurance policy. Your job isn't trying to figure out their why. Your job isn't trying to build a whole bunch of rapport when booking an appointment. Your job is to just book an appointment. That's all it is. You're the purveyor of information. And what that mission is to verify information, to make sure they understand what mortgage protection is, and just make sure they want that mortgage taken care of if something happens. Verify the mortgage amount, height, whether they smoke or don't smoke, some basic health information, verify that the spouse is going to be there, that they understand what mortgage protection is, and just tie that thing down and just book the appointment and move on. I think if you're trying to do more, it's going to be very awkward for you. And I think it's going to be very awkward for the client. And I think your no-show rate is going to be very, very high. What we've noticed is if it's just part of the process, you get a mortgage, you go out, hey, this is just another part of it. We need to go over your mortgage protection options. Well, I'm not sure if I'm interested. Well, I don't know if you're interested either. Do you know what it is? Yep. It doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't cost a whole bunch of money. We just need to go over it, and I really don't care if you get it. And what we're still finding out is that 50% of the people we sit with still get it, right? It's like I was telling somebody a few weeks ago, we're redecorating our office here. We just got it, redoing painting, and, I've been here for 2 years, and I was like, man, I need that beautiful Equis blue on the wall, and I need some stuff, and I need some new TVs, and I already knew what I was going to buy. You walk into Best Buy, and what's the first thing you say to them? I'm just looking. Well, guess what I did? I knew exactly which TV I was going to buy. I knew exactly what I was doing. I knew how much it was, and I was ready to buy it. Well, here's the thing. Why did I say I'm just looking? Because that's a knee-jerk reaction that we all say. It's a knee-jerk reaction to go, I'm busy. Call me later. Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do here right now, as a matter of fact. It's not going to take up a whole bunch of time, doesn't cost a whole bunch of money, and I really don't care if you get it or not. When you can take time, money, and pressure off the table and stop trying to build a whole bunch of rapport, stop trying to sit there and schmooze them for 10 minutes. I used to say this to people, and this is kind of what it is. Stop trying to figure out who's going to buy it on the initial phone call or not, because you don't know. Does that make sense, Connor? Like, you don't know who's going to buy it on the initial phone call. If they're willing to book an appointment with you, you got a 50-50 shot. That's all it is. What I'm noticing in my group is it doesn't matter if you're a veteran agent or you're a rookie agent. If you do the activity and you stick to that very basic fundamental in your mind, the results are the same. Skill is almost irrelevant at this point. It's like activity and your mindset, and you'll pick up the skill. So Scott, I know watching these warriors here, we learned everything we did. I'm so proud to see Noel's numbers just jacked up through the roof when she stopped trying to build a bunch of rapport, and she learned how to kind of run with them. Didn't you, Noel? Noel, it wasn't easy for Noel. See, hey, I'm just coming out. Is there any reason you're not going to be able to answer? She's so sweet. And I'm like, you need to, I can't say it on here. You need to toughen up. I said it in a different way, but I'm like, you need to toughen up. You're a bill collector. You're not a telemarketer. You're not customer service. You're a credit collector. You're a bill collector. You got to be that firm when booking the appointment. And I think stop trying to warm up. Stop trying to build relationships. Stop trying to be awkward. Just book the appointment and move on.
Thank you, Pete. Hey, so what I would recommend, Stuart, for that question, also go back and watch Pete's video on step 5. If you're struggling building rapport, that's not you, whatever, just be straight to the point. Go watch his video on step 5. He's booking live appointments. And then Pete, we have your phone script up there as well on the training center. So go to step 5. Listen, I want to also say, if you have not been through the 8 steps, make sure, please, for yourself, make sure that you get that done this weekend. Go through all 8 steps of the virtual platform training center by logging in equisfinancial.com, go to training center, click on virtual platform, just the way you got here. The other thing I want to mention too, before we move on, is 2 things. Number 1, make sure while you're in there, I'm talking about the page that you join the dial session on, the coaching session. That is, make sure you report your numbers daily. It's extremely important for the group. Report your numbers daily and make sure that you know how and you signed up for the Underwriting Toolkit. That is a game changer. Okay, next question. Let's see here. Okay, here's one. So we're going to do a video on this actually. So Connor, this is the one about how you walk the person through the signature process. That depends on the carrier, but can you talk to that just in general?
Yeah, so really every process, it really just depends per company. Like GPM is pretty self-explanatory. Forrester's is pretty easy. we're going to shoot videos, you guys, for everyone to just do some mock examples. But in reality, most of them, and anybody interrupt if I'm incorrect, but most of the time what it is they hit access documents of some sort. They're going to put in a verification. They're going to review the documents, and then they're going to sign. So just be patient with a client. Like last night, it took me 35 minutes to get an Americo app signed. And it wasn't Americo being slow. It's just they were 79 years old. So, I mean, it happens. So just always make sure you're patient. Never rush to get on your next appointment when you're trying to help out with signatures. But Americo uses DocuSign. For all of you who know how to use DocuSign, that's probably the easiest. GPMs is extremely simple. You can see it in real time. The biggest pain is Mutual of Omaha. So we're definitely going to get a video shot for that. But the signature process is pretty simple. So just don't overthink it too much. The way that you sign is pretty similar to theirs. So just make sure to be learning the process. And hey, right, Pete, we always say if when you truly believe in our business, you have your own policy. So sign yourself up for one of them, make sure your family's covered, and see how the process is for you, right?
That's right, buddy. Great tip, man. Thank you, Connor. Okay, so I made a bunch of, Noel, I'll throw this one to you. I made a lot of calls yesterday, double, triple dialed. I spoke to more people, but no appointments. I took out those that were not interested. So you're talking to a lot of people, but not setting appointments. Oh, sorry, Noel's, I got you. Okay, there you go.
So the question is how to set appointments, or?
So I think there's a couple of questions here. Number one, make sure you have plenty of leads. You know, you can't do it on like 10, 15 leads. It's going to be difficult. You need more leads. Just get a bunch of $2 leads or something. Just get you a whole stack of leads. It's putting the numbers in your favor. So make sure you do that. And I would encourage you also to go to step five in the training center, which are 3 videos of live appointment setting. 3 videos of live appointment setting. So that wasn't really one, Noel. I'll give you another one here. But that's what I would tell you is if you're not setting appointments, live on the training center. Listen to those guys make dials. Just stay on there constantly. It's not just like go through the 8 steps and I'm all done. I never go do it again. Go back and use it over and over and over and listen to them. And then I would encourage you to do this. If you're still struggling, record yourself while you're dialing. It's going to feel awkward, but record yourself.
Hey, Scott, I do have one piece of advice.
Yes.
It's a sentence I use for any objection when I'm dialing. It's the same. It doesn't matter. It's like Rob Jones. I don't care. I still have to deliver your options. That was like Rob Jones's objection training was the same sentence every time. So this kind of, and Pete Beckman said, people are worried about being like hammer closed, being sold to. They don't want to feel pressured to buy. So my go-to sentence for any objection is, that's totally fine. I understand. You're not required to take this program. I'm required to go over your options. After that, it's up to you what you want to do with it. I say that every time because it doesn't matter what the objection was. I'm required to go over your options. You're not required to take it. After that, it's up to you what you want to do with it. And a lot of people, that eases their mind, and then you can book the appointment. If they still give you a ton of pushback, let them go. Something that blew my mind was when Connor Jones was like, I'm not going to book somebody if they don't want this. Like, I'm not going to, because I pride myself on being really strong on the phone. And I used to book appointments that I had no business booking because they absolutely did not want to meet with me. And I would just like weasel my way in there and meet with them. And they'd be like, okay, well, tell me what you got to say to me because you made me come here. And they'd be pissed. So if they don't want it, absolutely let them go, move on, get another lead. That's a prime time slot. That's a half hour in your schedule that you don't need to waste on someone.
Perfect, Noel. Thank you. Okay, here's another one. I had 2 meetings where Whereby showed a black screen and no audio for the client. Taylor Rumbo.
So for your audio, always stay on the phone with them, even through Whereby. I don't ever hang up the phone. I just use the phone as audio because it's more reliable than Whereby. And I'll be honest, probably 50% of the ones that I close, the client's not on video. As long as they can see me, I'm good with that. That's been tried and true since last April. As long as they can see you, they feel comfortable. So yeah, hopefully I wouldn't stress too much about if they're not on video, because I had some glitches with Whereby this week where their video wasn't popping up, but they're like, oh, I can see you, that's fine. So as long as you can get on there, show them your driver's license, put them at ease, I think you're fine.
Yeah. Okay. Expand on this one. So when you say I used my phone audio, so you're calling from your phone, you're talking to them through the phone, but when Whereby comes on, and you can also talk to them Whereby, what do you do with your Whereby?
So Whereby, I mute my microphone, and then I turn the volume. I just mute my computer's volume out so that they can see me, but all of the audio is going straight through the phone.
All right, so guys, when you get them on video on Whereby, or if they're not on video, but when the Whereby is up, and they can see you at the very least, mute your microphone so they're not going, I can't understand, you're getting all this feedback. Mute the microphone on the Whereby, right? So mute that, not your phone, and talk to them through the phone. Because you're doing a VoIP, basically, conversation, it breaks up a lot when you're trying to do that. You know, it depends on your internet speed and all that kind of stuff. So just use your phone's audio. Lay your phone down, put it on speaker, and talk to them from that. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, next one is, how do you handle someone that you know? I'm not sure about that one. Give me some more details on that one. Had too many, I want to think about it. Ashlyn Hughes. Think about it. I need to think about it.
So even when I was running the field, this is what I would say. I'd say it before I even kind of got into stuff, and this is how I did it. I say, you probably want to think about the carrier. You want to think about the company just like they want to think about you. It takes time to get you approved. This does not happen overnight. It takes about 5 to 7 business days. Sometimes it takes longer. And so you have time to think about it. But recently I have been asking people on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about getting protection for this kind of protection? How serious are you about it? If there is 6 or higher, I'll write the application. Most of the time they're like a 7 or 8. If they're below a 6, then if I submit it, they're not going to get it. They're going to pull out anyway. They're going to cancel it or do something. And so it's not worth it to me. But if they're 6 or higher, I do submit it. And I usually don't have any issues with that, but that's how I answer. I just say, they want to think about you too. It takes time. They got to make sure that you're not lying about your prescriptions, and they want to think about you just like you want to think about them.
Okay, thank you, Ashton. And I'll expand on this good one. The other thing is you got to make sure that you find the pain that's going to be the result of them not having this policy and losing their spouse's income. Remember this, no pain, no sell ever. No pain, no sell ever. So here's what happens when you get a lot to think about it. Hey, listen, I've been doing this long enough to know it's one of two things. It's either number one, you don't see the value in this to protect your family, or number two, it's budget. Which one is it? Here's what it is most of the time. It's they don't see the value. Pete Beckman talked about this last week. They just see it as another bill. You have to go in and ask them, hey, listen, guys, can I just talk? This is Rob Jones. Can I just talk to you like a friend's family? Yeah. Okay, because I'm going to ask you some questions, maybe a little uncomfortable, because this is not something we all sit around on Sunday at the halftime football game talking about, right? Hey, honey, what are you going to do when I die? And then Kimberly's like, what are you talking about? I was going to get up and get some nachos for halftime. When we're going to talk about this? Why would you ask me that? See, we don't talk about this stuff. So you probably don't talk about this. I'm going to ask you some questions, but I know how to best help you, and if this even makes sense. And I'm going to ask them the question. Listen, if you have to, I go back to this one. Hey, Pete, if there were an officer knocking on your door and you've been wondering, where the heck is Brandon? I know he likes running appointments, but he's not here. It's 11 o'clock at night. That's not unusual, but still, you expected him home a while back. And that officer says, hey, do you know this person here? Brandon Hall? And Pete goes, yeah, why don't you have his driver's license? And he said, hey, I'm sorry to inform you that I don't want to say this. I don't want to put it out there, but hey, they're not here anymore. Right? And you go, oh my gosh. Then I'm going to say, hey, let me ask you this. What would you do then? What does life look like for you then? Would you even stay in the home? No, I wouldn't. See, they've never had this conversation. I can't tell you how many times, Connor, I've had people, the husband go, what are you talking about? You wouldn't stay in the home. I've worked my tail off and you would stay in this home? I wouldn't stay here if you're not here. We raised our kids here. Yeah, but you know, I don't want to take care of this place. I'd rather not. I'd just go get a new place, smaller place, you know, maybe move near family because we don't have any family here. You got to ask these questions to find out what the pain is. So here's one thing I know by saying that. She says, no, I wouldn't stay here. I don't need to wrestle with them trying to insist they need the full payoff of the mortgage. I just got to buy her some time. And I'm going to ask him the same thing. And Pete, I remember this guy named Clyde in East Texas. I said, Clyde, what about you? Would you stay here? He goes, well, if she ain't going to stay here, I wouldn't either. He was mad about it. I go, what do you, and she goes, why wouldn't you stay here? You just said you worked hard off this place. You worked your tail off all these years to pay for this place. He goes, well, if you're not staying here, I'd move out by the lake. And so, okay, so you wouldn't stay here either. No, I'd probably move out by the lake. Okay, I don't have to wrestle with full payoff. I got to buy him some time. But I need to know what's going to happen financially. Because at this point, through the needs analysis, we've already determined you're not going to have the money to pay for this place. You can't afford it just on your income. So what are you going to do? I need to make sure you have enough money to pay the payments. How much time do you think you need? 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? And then let's give that to them so then they feel comfortable. Because here's what's going to happen. Now, it doesn't matter what the face value of the policy is. I'm not even talking about it. I go, 2 years is $67 a month. 3 years is $84. And 4 years is $97. Which one do you feel best about? I think 3 years would be good. Okay, great. What's your driver's license number? Remember, you got to find the pain. You're not selling a product because that product is just, you don't really need this. It's just another bill. That product's like having, you know, DirecTV or something. They're just looking at it as a monthly bill. You have to dig in and find out what's going to happen. Otherwise, they never see the value in it. Noel Hughes.
So, nail on the head, Scott, pain. You've got to find the pain. You got to provide a solution right after that. What happens if Brandon doesn't come home? This is going to solve your issue. This is equity protection, or this is living benefits, whichever one they qualify for. Explain it briefly. This is what it does. This is what it does. And then I ask them one question. So this is going to take away all the think about it. Pete, is this the right type of coverage for you? Yes. Okay. And then this is the one, and I learned this from Jamie Trent and Andrew Pappas. Again, I don't learn anything by myself. Like, I'm not that smart. I just pick things up. So this is a sentence that they taught me on a podcast. Pete, if we find something that fits in your budget, is this something you want to take care of? And then if they don't give you a yes, you don't even run them a quote. You're done. You're not a quote giver. You're trying to help get them covered, okay? The quote is the one thing that they want that you have. And if they tell you they want to think about it before you even run them a number, get out of there, run. Hang up the call, move on. Pete, if we find something that fits comfortable in the budget, is this something you want to take care of? Yes, absolutely. Okay, let me run you some numbers. We're going to find a good starting point. See what fits best in the budget today. You'll never hear I think about it again.
Perfect, Noel. Thank you. Okay, here's another one. Connor, take this one. I was led to believe that you have to get a screenshot with their driver's license while they're on video, with their driver's license.
I've never heard of that. If you have to, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to have to call on my clients back. Now, I normally, though, in all seriousness, I normally will look at their license. I have them hold it up for me.
Just hold it up, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something, yeah. I've never, I mean, maybe you're thinking about with GPM, if their signature's off, you have to send in photo of the driver's license, which is obnoxious, but it is what it is.
Yeah, Mike called. Connor was like, oh, crap, man. He's like, oh, wow, man, I'm sitting here thinking about, I got to call those clients and get them to send me their driver's license. You see his face? He was like, hope I answer this right, man. All right, thanks, Connor. I'll gently, okay, not sure what that is. Okay, I had several that had a great life policy in place, but not through their job. So they're not seeing the value in this. They're already covered. What would you say to them? Noel Hughes.
Say they have coverage through their job?
They have coverage outside of their job. They have a good policy, and they don't see the value of adding this additional policy.
Connor, I love that policy that you've got with State Farm. They're a great company, aren't they? Okay. The only problem, I know, but I learned from Frank Betcher in his book is always compliment the competitor. You never insult it. One time I badmouthed a company and someone hung up the phone on me. They're like, I've been with that company since I was 2 years old. Like, always compliment the competitor. Okay, so even if you hate Primerica, which I do, but say something nice. But anyway, so Connor, that State Farm policy is awesome, right? I love life insurance. I believe in life insurance. I own life insurance. But the only problem with that policy, Connor, is it's only going to pay you when you're 6 feet under the ground, right? It's only going to pay you when you die. Connor, what happens if you have a stroke tomorrow? Half your body's paralyzed. You can't walk, pee, go to the bathroom. You can't feed yourself. You've got round the clock care. You're shelling out $30,000 a month for in-home help. Like, what does that look like for you? What are you going to do then? Is State Farm going to help you? No. We need to make sure you have a living benefit policy in place. So if you're incapacitated after a stroke, you can take a good big chunk out of that life insurance policy to help pay for that round the clock care, right? What's going to happen to your income? Is State Farm going to pay your $30,000 a month salary? Nope. What's going to happen to your bills? What's going to happen to medical bills? You ask them these questions because they think it's just a death benefit. They think that's what we're just selling them is just death. But we're selling them the living coverage. And so you got to do that by asking questions.
Thank you, Noel. Michael, I'm sorry, buddy. I missed your deal there. You wanted to add to one of the questions.
Well, you know what? I love what you and Noel are saying because what we do is we're an artist, right? And when we can paint a picture, we're visual people and we need to visualize what's happening. But let's just remember that unless it's Navi Arlene, people sent this request in asking for what we have. There was a need when they sent that form in, and we've got to go back to that need. We need to not forget that. And when we're talking about objections, like we can give you an answer for every objection, but isn't the better approach, isn't an ounce of prevention better than a pound of cure? It's like, who's seen, and maybe this isn't a good analogy, I don't know, I think it is. Who's seen the movie 8 Mile, right? With Eminem back in the day, and you got Eminem getting ready to come on stage at the end, and he knows that Papa Doc is getting ready to come up, and he's just gonna tear him to pieces, right? And he gets up there and he makes fun of himself. He gets rid of all of his ammo. So like when I'm sitting with the client, I'll say, hey, Scott, look, so the reason we're meeting today, I'm the field underwriter, it's assigned to your program, but I'm like the doctor of insurance. My job is not just to give you a solution because you can't walk into a doctor and get a prescription. You got to have an exam. My job is to collect some information from you so I can see if this is even something that you need. Scott, my commitment to you is if this is not something you need, I'm going to be the first one to tell you not to waste your time on it. But if it is, I'm going to clearly tell you that too. Scott, if we can find something that makes sense to you for you today that also fits in your budget, is there any reason you're not ready to move forward? We take care of that up front and get it out of the way. We're going to let them know that one, it's got to make sense, and two, they've got to afford it. You just hit the nail on the head a few minutes ago about the objections. You said it's one of two things. It's value or it's price, right? Well, we can fix price. We can't fix, we can provide value, but we can't make them see the value. It's up to them. If they don't care, that's the one objection that we can't fix. We can't make somebody care. All we can do is exactly what you and Noel just did and paint that crystal clear picture of them being in that moment and that happening. See, we're in such a fast society today. We don't slow down to think about stuff like that. We don't plan out wills. We don't plan out our funeral until we've already got ailments. It's an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure.
Thank you, Michael. Good stuff, man. Yeah, guys, you have to ask the tough questions. It's uncomfortable, right? But that's where you go, hey, listen, can I just have your permission to talk to you like I'm family? And then imagine yourself sitting there across from your brother or your sister as adults. You're sitting there at Thanksgiving. Everyone else is kind of in the kitchen hanging out. You guys are in the living room hanging out. And then this conversation comes up. You know, your brother says, hey, man, you have any kind of life insurance, anything like that? You go, yeah. And listen to what I'm talking. Just go, yeah. What about you? No, I don't have any. No kidding. Why are you asking me about it right now? Oh, man, you know, I had this buddy that passed away in a car wreck a couple of weeks ago, and his whole family and his little kids lost their home. I said, you got to be kidding me. Man, oh, man, I guess he didn't have any life insurance, obviously. Nope. Why are you thinking about it? Well, man, I was just thinking I wouldn't want the same thing happen to me. Well, what would happen? You know, what would happen to your wife if she lost your income? I mean, are you thinking that it's something you need or something she could still afford the house? Can she still afford the house? No, man, there's no way. It takes both of our bills. I wouldn't be able to afford it on my own. It's that same kind of conversation. You're just talking to them like that. They need to feel like they're talking to a family member, that's someone who's not trying to sell them, but someone who's trying to understand, hey, man, what's the situation look like? Again, you know, maybe your brother's never talked about this before, but you're sitting there and he trusts you and says, I mean, I just don't know. I feel like I need to get something because I wouldn't want that to happen to my wife and her to be able to, you know, her lose the house. So you got to just talk to them like that. Just say, can I have your permission to talk to you like a family? Yeah. And then it's all in it's like Pete talks about all the time. It's in your tonality. Don't start asking. This is where you're not real rigid. You're just saying, so what would you do? So if that highway patrol showed up with Jim's driver's license hand, what would you do? And don't talk, just ask them. Remember, it's like talking to your family. Now, if you got a family you don't like, pretend that you got a family you do like. Or pretend you're with a best friend. And you're talking to your best friend about it. Best friend comes to the house and just starts asking the same questions. So you got to just find out what the deal is. So they can go through it. Because again, they're not sitting around talking about this stuff. This may be the first time it's ever come out on the table. Right? So, yeah, you got to find the pain. No pain. No, I hate to call it a sell. We don't like to call it close. But you're not going to be able to protect that family if you don't find out what pain's going to be caused and represent the value. Okay, here's another one. Thank you, guys. Okay, okay, so you get them on camera, Taylor, and the spouse is not there. And you go, hey, where's Jill at? And they said, nah, she doesn't need to be on. What do you do?
Reschedule it. I mean, seriously, if it's a husband, I'll say, look, as much as you and I both think that we have all the power and control and make the decisions, you and I both know we don't make decisions around here. So I'd say, hey, I've got to talk to both of you guys. I'm just required to do so. So what would be a good time tomorrow that you guys are both home?
Yeah. And just get here. I've heard Connor say that's all you do. Yeah, she's already washing the dishes. Well, tell her to come over here and take a break, man. Yeah. Sit down with us. Right? And if he says, no, she doesn't want to be, she doesn't need to be on camera. Just go, man, I can't help you if you're not both here. This is about both of you. I can't help you. Is there a time you'd rather reschedule? If you can't get on there now, I mean, if this is not important to you, that's okay. But otherwise, just reschedule. Because why? That's a one-legged appointment.
Yeah.
That's a one-legged appointment. And to Taylor's point, even if he says, that's okay, man, you know, my part in the house is I make these decisions. Yeah, that's because you're talking to me, you're telling me that.
Yeah.
But as soon as we get to the end of this, I tell you it's $74 a month, you're going to go, okay, well, let me talk to Jill. It's going to happen every time. So don't even waste your time. It will happen every single time. I thought you made all the decisions. Well, this is really something that we probably both need to talk about. Exactly. That's what I told you. So yeah, don't fall for that one. Great question. Okay. My call.
Yeah, can I add something to that? So here's
heck yeah, buddy.
So Scott, we're sitting here coaching agents on the importance of painting a picture and letting people know what's going to happen when that time comes and making them visualize that. Do we think that if we sit down with just one of the spouses, that spouse is going to be able to communicate that the same way to the other spouse? I mean, that's the biggest reason, right? It's because we want them to be on the same page. When people make decisions that are that important, it's very important that they both understand the same information the same way. We may communicate it one way to the spouse, and they may use the same words to their spouse, but it doesn't mean, and it's probably not, more than likely, it's not going to be communicated any way near the way that we did to the spouse that was on there. That's really the importance. It's not even about who makes the decisions and who doesn't. And I'll tell you, in my 10 years of doing this, when I have done one-legged appointments and I have made the sales, a lot of times they've canceled, not because they didn't think they needed it, not because it was too expensive, but because the decision wasn't made together.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, you got to ask these questions, got to have that conversation. Again, just think of it as it's your best friend, someone you really like, and they're asking for your opinion. They're like, hey, man, I asked you to come here because I want to talk to you about something. What is it? Hey, I thought maybe I'd take out one of these policies. Why do you think you need it? Hey, can I just talk to you like we're family? Yeah. So let me ask you something. And then just go into what we were talking about earlier. That's that. So what would you do? If Jim didn't come home tomorrow, what would you do? Would you stay here? Could you afford to stay here? No, I couldn't do it on my income. So what would you do? I'd probably move. I'd get a smaller place that I could afford. Would you stay in the local area? Yeah, most likely. No, I'd move closer to my sister. No kid, where's she live? She's in Florida. So you're gonna go from Texas to Florida? Yeah, I'd rather be around here. I wouldn't want to be here by myself. I may get a few friends around, but I'd rather be closer to family, especially if there's something like that happen. So just having that conversation, let them open up to you, so you know what the deal is. And then she said, then what's going to happen at the end? It will happen occasionally, but there's no way he's going to say, I'd rather you lose the house, so I'm not going to do anything at all. But you got to have that conversation, because you need for him to hear what pain she's going to be in if you didn't help her, and vice versa. He needs to hear it, because he's thinking, oh, crap, man. Reality just kind of set in all of a sudden, thinking about when we're talking about this, right? You got to have those conversations, and they'll appreciate it because everyone else, if they had someone else on there before and they didn't do anything, it's because they didn't see the value. Because most people out there today are out there trying to sell product and get a big commission and not really taking care of the family. Like Connor said, you got to love on people, just like they're your best friend and family that you do like. Okay, next one. Listen, this one is, what if they, this one for Noel. So Noel, on the point of living benefits, what if they don't qualify for living benefits in that situation? I'm assuming you probably already asked them a few medical questions before you got to that part. So you know ahead of time, but just verify that I'm thinking correctly on that.
So if they don't qualify for living benefits, they probably qualify for equity protection. I know they qualify because AIG will cover anybody. So we have a program for anybody, literally. So you can go into an appointment confidently knowing that if you found someone who's decapitated, like, you can cover them as long as they can make their payment, okay? Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But so when you go into it, you always have to have a positive with it. So Mike, even with your 2 diabetic amputations and your congestive heart failure, it's amazing. I have a company that's actually going to take you. Okay. So always spin it positive. Don't ever say you're too fat and sick to qualify for the elite coverage, so I'm going to just stick you with this really crappy company that has a 2-year wait period. Sound good to you? Cool. You never say that. You always want to be positive. Awesome. Even with everything you have going on, I have a company that's going to work with you with that. Okay. Now there's 2 types of mortgage protection. There's full and complete coverage where it pays off the whole loan, or there's equity protection. Now, Mike, most people in your situation hate the full coverage because it's so stupid expensive. It costs as much as your mortgage payment. It makes no sense in the budget, okay? Equity protection is a fantastic option for you. This is a time buying program because what we need to do is make sure that your spouse has enough time after you pass away to figure out the next steps, okay? And then you go into the pain. Mike, when your wife passes away, how much time do you need before you're packing up a box? A week, a month, a year? I mean, I'm assuming you're going to want to grieve for a little bit, catch your breath, get your feet back under you. The worst possible time is to, make a financial decision immediately after the death of a loved one. So let's make sure that we have some time. So it's all about how you present it, how you approach it. If you tell them, ooh, you had your foot chopped off last year, so you're not going to qualify for anything good. It just depends on how you present it. Because some people, they love AIG. They don't think that they can get anything when you meet with them. And when you present them a good option, they're like, oh, no.
Yes, thank you, Noel. Really good stuff. Pete Beckman, sorry, man. I just saw yours. Did you want to add to the pay part? Yeah.
So I think all this stuff is incredible. There's a book here that I have, and I'm going to hold it up. It's called Red Letter Language. You guys should all buy this. Red Letter Language by a guy named Howard White, Wight. And, this is a lot of it to get your mind right. A lot of this is how you think. What you think is what you will perceive, which is what you will present. What you think is what you'll perceive, which is what you'll present. Does that make sense? I wanted to mention something like Ashlyn said. One of the things I do is I love that Ashlyn's, going for it. But, I would say one thing is I hope Ashlyn out of this, she's on the panel, but also still new to coaching, right? Is that we don't use a soft close. We want somebody who wants this. You don't want to charge back. You don't want something coming back. You don't want to just push them, hey, let me try to just get the app in and you got time to think about it. You don't want to get paid and get charged back. This book has changed my career when I was in sales. Brandon uses it a lot. I remember I was in a house one time and a guy told me to use this and I pulled it out of my pocket and I was stumped. The guy told me, well, I don't really, giving me some excuse. And I said, hang on a minute. And I opened this book and I go back here because he was telling me about the premium was a little much. And I went and I opened this book and I just read it to him. I filled in the blank. I said, so John, if the premium is peanuts compared to the problem, if you can't afford the premium of $132 a month, how is Nancy going to afford the problem of losing $4,000 a month? And he looked at me and he said, did you just read that from that book? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. I mean, it was like, it's just getting you to think right. That's all this is. Grab this book. You'll find it at howardwhite.com. You can find this book. It's probably about $100 for one of these. If you find it on Amazon, I think it's about $100. If you buy it from Howard White, he's passed away. So his daughter still runs his legacy business, but it's like $25-$30. It's going to take 2 weeks to get in. In fact, if you're a leader, you're a builder on the call, buy 50 of them. I've bought these and given them to teammates of mine, and it's just getting their thinking right. And I just love all this coaching. I love all the raw reality. I love what you guys are asking. And I love it, Scott. I just say, grab this book, think right. And again, it's what you think, which is what you perceive, which is what you present. So your presentation starts with the way you think and the way if you think it's expensive, you're going to perceive it's expensive. You're going to present it's expensive. If you feel like it's a solution, you're going to believe it's a solution. You're going to perceive it as a solution, and then you're going to present it as a solution. So think right.
Really good stuff, Pete, man. This is the value right there, buddy. Hey, Brandon Hall does have a coach, and that's him. Good stuff, man. That's really good. Connor Jones, you had a follow-up to that. We got about 3 minutes left before we wrap it up.
I'm terrible. So I was going to say for anybody listening, when we were talking about guaranteed issue, do not put that in your prime time slots. Okay. Any of my guys in my office that do that, I get so mad at them. If anybody's really unhealthy, okay, book them early and run them quick. Okay. We're not an AIG company. Rumbo, if I get in trouble for saying that, I'm sorry. Make sure, again, you're putting quality, healthy people within your slots. Make sure if somebody's had cancer 6 times, you're not putting them at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of heartbreak. You're going to be frustrated, right? So just remember that. They normally answer for their appointments, but make sure it's earlier in the day. That's just all I wanted to add on.
Yeah, really good one, Connor. Thank you, man. That's a great point. But guys, also remember to sign up and register for your underwriting toolkit, because we're talking some different situations here. That toolkit is going to help you a ton. You're not going to have to guess. I wonder what they would qualify, man. What product? It's going to give you the answer. So make sure you get your underwriting toolkit. That is an absolute game changer. Okay, I think we hit all the questions. Let me just go back and check real quick, and we're going to wrap it up, guys. Yep, we got one more new one. Come in. Oh, Pete, sorry. Somebody says, what's the name of the book again, please? Oh, sorry. Let me get you.
Red letter language.
It's called Red. There it is, right there. Red
letter language.
Yep, that's it.
Thank
right
you,
there.
Pete. Okay, hey, Pete, as we wrap up here, closing comments.
Guys, plug in. This is a builder's dream. You know, I think we need to take a day next week and really share the opportunity. Come together. I would get all your people on here. Let's share the opportunity to build your group and what virtual really is. Because, you know, there are people that say they have systems. This is a system. Does that make sense? A computer system, a fancy, you know, startup program, that is a part of the system. You know what the other part of the system is? You can't replace the coaches you got on this thing. Does that make sense? Don't take it for granted, the skill that these folks have and what they're transferring to you. That right there is part of the system. You're a part of the system by plugging in. That's your part, right? But I can tell you, I've been around the block a lot, and I've never seen so many people with no ego, not trying to one-up you on something, but with 100% conviction to see that you leave this each and every day better than you started. And so I can tell you, you can't find this culture in corporate America. You can't find this in other IMOs. You can't find this in other insurance groups. You just can't find it. And we're better together. And I appreciate that you guys are all on here, taking notes, being students of the business. I can't wait until we got a whole new panel up here in about 3 weeks that is like completely different than all of us sharing this. You see what I'm saying? That's what we need. We need 20, 30, 40 people, you know, getting their teams up to 10 new agents in the next 30 days. I've never, ever seen an opportunity to build like we have right now. So, you know, I would say go at it this week. Finish the week strong. If you haven't started if you haven't got the results you wanted, remember this. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And you've got a whole day today to go out and finish very, very strong, but it's up to you to go hit your 6 a day, or as Noel says, 6 is good, 8 is great, 10 you'll win. Like, it's all up to you. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, panel guys. We're so excited to have you, and can't wait to see you guys on next week.
Thanks, Pete. Mike Call, closing comments.
That was it, man. You guys said it. This is incredible. I'm grateful to be a part of it, and I can't wait to come back on Monday. So let's get after it. Great stuff.
Thanks, Mike, for being on. Connor Jones, closing comments.
Hit your 24. You're not done until you hit 24. That's the only thing I'm going to be mean about. Do not complain, or you need to make sure you're hitting 24 appointments a week. I ran 28 this week. Make sure you're hitting. Everyone that wrote all their business this week, they never missed their 24. So you need to be hard on yourself. For everybody on the call, we're not your bosses. We're buddies. We're trying to support you and help you. So we cannot force you to go run 24 appointments. You have to make the decision. But I always love what Christian Pounder, back when we first started in the business, and we would always talk whenever we were driving. We always talked about how consistent activity masks everything. You never have problems when you have massive activity. You never worry about a chargeback. You never worry about a no-show. You never worry about anything when you have massive activity. So focus on the 24. Again, controllables, uncontrollables. Look and locate what you can control in your business and just continue, again, to push forward. So I think in the next 45 days, I think we're going to see an uptick in premium by 20-30%. So I'm really excited, you guys.
Yep. Yeah. We're your buddies. Hey, Mike Hall, I'm your buddy, man. If you don't do at least 24 appointments a week, you won't make it. That's a fact. We already know that, right? Taylor Rumbo, closing comments.
Plug in every day. Honestly, if you don't plug in, you're not going to make it. Plain and simple. We've seen it in the past. If you're not plugging in every day, your head's somewhere else and you're not going to make it here. I learn things every day on this call. So just plug in every day, hit your at least 24, keep your activity high. Like Connor said, that your activity keeps you sane. Like this week, I got my butt kicked, but I ran 30 appointments, so I'm not mad about it. Like I know I did my part. So keep your activity high, control what you can control. Everything else will fall into place.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, buddy. Noel Hughes, closing comments.
Guys, take advantage of this. I think Pete Beckman said it. This is going to sound like back in my day comment, but like I have never, and I've only been here for 3.5 years. I have never been a part of a call like this. I've never, and we always say this is the best time in the history to build your team. Like this is the greatest time. There's no better time than the present. Like people always say that because it's true, but like for real, I have never seen the opportunity like this for a builder, for a brand new agent to be a builder and plug people in and let Connor Jones and Pete Beckman train them. Like you don't have to do a single thing. You don't even have to know how to underwrite. You don't have to know anything. And Ashlyn Hughes is going to train them, and my call is going to inspire them. Pete Beckman is going to just like blow your mind every single day. Connor Jones is going to give them a kick in the butt when they need it. You have all these coaches here. This platform, like it's just blowing my mind. Like I still can't fathom it. I've known for like over a month, and I'm still like blown away. So just take advantage of it. You guys don't know how good you have it. You really don't. There was a time 2 years ago where we had zero technology. We were running in the dark. We didn't know what we submitted. We didn't know what was impending. Like we were just throwing stuff in there because we were transitioning technologies. We didn't know what the heck. We called it the black months. Like it was the dark months. And now you have literally everything at your fingertips. And I feel a little bit of Connor Jones coming in. Like right now but like if you guys can't figure it out right now, there's no hope for you. I'm sorry, that was mean. But like, if you can't figure it out with literally everything at your fingertips, like just stop. But if you want it, take advantage of it. Run with it, grab hold of it, because like Connor said, like we didn't have this 2 years ago. We didn't have anything. We didn't even have a quote calculator 2 years ago. We had to like go onto the carrier website and like figure that crap out, okay? So like take advantage of it, you guys. This is incredible. It's blowing my mind.
Thank you, Noel. Ashlyn Hughes, closing comments.
Go get it. Get your 24 appointments. Plug in at least 24. I mean, I'm running 38 this week because I'm running today. So run, plug into the system. Like Noel said, if you can't get it, it's right there in front of you. It's right there. There's a whole platform for it. There's a whole program for it. And plug in every day at 9 o'clock because honestly, that's what keeps me going. It can be a lonely business sometimes, but if you plug in and you get that training every morning, it makes a world of a difference.
Thank you, Ashlyn. Great job. Okay, guys, remember, come Monday, have your name formatted because we're going to start kicking people off. We're going to see who wants to win and who can follow the system. Have a great weekend, everyone. Report your numbers, and get your toolkit set up. See ya.